a few of the things with us as well. Thank you, Uncle Nabil. You can clap.
So I'm waiting for the presentation to download. Ihab has got it already. Thank you, Ihab. This is a topic that is really dear to my heart. Well, what's the picture? What's the slide showing? Yeah, a well-known story in the Bible. What is it, you think? The Good Samaritan, yes. Beautifully described by St. Luke in the Gospel. Because the question really is, how far do we get involved with the sick? Visiting is good, but I'm going to give you some examples of going far more than just visiting. And the first example to think about is a Good Samaritan. I'm going to go through the points in St. Luke. St. Luke is very detailed in his description of things. Very detailed. So he tells us about this man going from Jericho down somewhere and was attacked by robbers. He was beaten up. He was beaten up so badly that he was left half dead. And then an amazing comment. A priest passed by and took no notice. And the Levi passed by and went to the other side of the road. And then a Samaritan. He was talking to the Lord was talking to the Jews. And the Jews have no warmth at all to the Samaritans. Yet the Lord made a point. A Samaritan came to him. Right. And everything from now on is about the Good Samaritan. Of course, the ultimate Good Samaritan is the Lord himself. But he's giving this parable to say, how far can you help the helpless? First, he took pity on him. Second, this is first century medicine. So facilities were very limited. But he did what he could. So he bandaged his wounds, pouring oil on the wounds. This is the technology of the first century, putting oil on the wounds and bandaging them. And then put him on his own donkey. Here is a donkey on the side. And then took him to the inn, the A&E department. He took him to the inn. And he gave the innkeeper 2 denaries, so it wasn't free. He gave him two denaries. Please look after him. And when I return, if there is any shortfall, I will pay you more. The package is perfect. The description of St. Luke, how far can you go to look after the sick and the vulnerable, is beautifully put together in the parable of the Good Samaritan. When we go and visit the sick, what is the main problem? What is the main issue? Once a week, I'm a GP. So once a month, we have a meeting to discuss those who are sick and frail and housebound. Number one in the problems is social isolation. The diabetes and the hypertension and arthritis comes number 2. It is always the social isolation. Living between 4 walls is not fun. Even if you have the television running 24 hours a day, it is still very lonely existence. We take it for granted that we can walk on our feet and go to the high street. If you can't do these simple things, it can be a very lonely existence. Right. Here is our friend, and he's called Yusri, and he is alone in the world. Now, I want to say that sometimes people are alone in the world because of outside circumstances. But sometimes people are alone in the world because of their own making. Does it matter? The end of the day is he is on his own, irrespective of how he reached this point. We don't judge. We don't judge. But this man happened to be on his own. That's our starting point. And do we need to go through the past? I'll give you an example of what Yusri was about. But we don't really need to dig through the past unless they choose to tell us. If they want to share, fine. If they don't want to share, it's nothing of my business. My business is here to serve the person who is alone in the world. As it just happened, he is divorced. And he has 2 sons, and the 2 sons live in Scotland. One has cut off completely from him and would not let the grandchildren to see him. No. And the other son, well, I come to see my dad once every 2 years. This year is not the year I see him. Real loneliness. Not just because he is on his own, because he's cut off from his family. That's even worse. When Yusri retired, he lived in a 1-bedroom flat, and he lived there for 20 years. His health deteriorated, and he became paralyzed. And he lived on the first floor, and he said, what kills me is going 1 flight of stairs. That was too much for him. In the end, it was a wheelchair. So that's the robber who robbed him of everything. Whether it is his own making or not is not the point. The point is he is robbed of he has not got his health, he has not got his family, and it hurt to be a grandfather and never to see your grandchildren. That really hurt. Right. So what people can do for him? Visiting is fantastic. But some people did more than visiting. I think of one who visited every 2 weeks, and he's a good cook. I'm a hopeless cook. But he is a good cook. So he would turn up to his flat and bring the ingredients and cook for him. And while cooking, they're talking. And then they sit and talk together. And they have a meal together. This is a big difference from having a cup of tea and having a polite conversation, goodbye. This is a step further. It's bringing everything, and what do you want to eat, and I'll cook it for you, and sit and eat, etc. Right. The paralyzed man, it became too much for him to live on the first floor flat, and it was time for him to go to a care home, what they call sheltered accommodation plus. In principle, this is fantastic. But how is he going to move? He lived in one place for 20 years. Who is going to do the packing? And his English was good, but maybe he would struggle phoning removal companies and the like and getting a best price and all that. An amazing person stepped in and did the shopping around and got the best company for removal and packed his stuff in boxes. How can he, otherwise, how could he have done it? This is the practical help that people are needed. So put all the stuff in boxes, got the removal company, moved, unpacked everything in the new flat. And this man is next in the list. All Yusri needed is for this man to push him in the wheelchair, put him in the car, literally lift Yusri in his car, put the wheelchair in the car, and drive him to a flat that is already fully furnished with all his stuff unpacked, ready to live in. And then carers came in and life carried on. But I want to tell you about the Good Samaritan. And I smiled because he's not a Copt. So So he has no direct connection with the church, but he has got a heart of gold. He's got a heart of gold, and he's called John. Few words about John, and then I will stop. Well, John was told that the communion is very important to Yusri. No problem. They live in London. Yusri was used to go to Stevenage. On Christmas Eve, in the evening, he took Yusri to the church, his favorite church. They went to Stevenage. The mass finishes at almost midnight. No problem. He drove him off to the church. He hung around. He doesn't understand the word of Arabic or Coptic. He attended the mass and drove him back to. Why? Because Yusri wants to have communion. And Yusri is a regular Stevenage attendant, so he has got some friends, so he was able to see his friends. And then Yusri was really towards the end saying goodbyes. He was doing his goodbyes. So he had a family in Bournemouth. No problem. John is a big chap. He used to play rugby. So he was able to carry Yusri, put him in the car, and carry the wheelchair and drive to Bournemouth to say his goodbyes to his old friends there. They were blessed with good weather, as you can see, blue sky, and they spent a wonderful day. And Yusri came back again happy. Huge difference between living between four walls and being driven off to the seaside. That's the extra mile that needed to be done, to be walked, in order to bring this man out of the shell. I want to say that Yusri's coping mechanism was to shut himself in. When I first met him, he was like a block of ice, and that was his coping mechanism. I survive, I'm going to shut myself. I'm going to freeze my emotions completely. But as people came and visited him, he began to come out of his shell. There is another housebound man who lives a mile away, and the two of them knew each other. He lives in a tiny flat, and the front passageway was very narrow. Fine. So the wheelchair was left outside the flat, and John literally carried Yusri through the short passageway to see the housebound man, who hasn't got long to go either. And they had a lovely time, and they came back. Every Thursday, John will take him, put him in his car and go to a cafe, local cafe. And he loved it. He loved it. See people walking around rather than being stuck in the flat. Well, this in the hospital, and he wheeled him from with the agreement of the nurse. He wheeled him from the ward, brought him down to the cafe. The cafe was a very important part of their lives. Had a coffee there and took him back. And at the end, Yusri was going, and John was there. And the last breath Yusri took, John was there with him. And the verse that came to mind in the book of Proverbs, it says, there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. That's John, a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Yusri died a happy man. For 20 years he was a block of ice, but he softened, he mellowed because of the love that people gave him, and he died happy. I'll stop at that. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Uncle Nabil. That was really beautiful. So there is a WhatsApp group for the visitation of the sick service, and we'll post details about that on the YRM group. So if anyone is interested, please do get in touch. From my understanding, you visit the people that we serve in groups of 2, so you don't generally for safety, and there's a lot of flexibility in this service. So you all communicate together to see when's the best day to visit. Does anyone have any questions for Uncle Nabil or about that story at all? So our next speaker is Bishoy. He's here.
I think
He
it's
is here.
inside.
Hi, Bishoy. He'll be telling us about City Mission. So
Hi everyone. I think we are just on. Okay, let's start. So I will start with a question. Had you seen Jesus before? Had anyone seen Jesus before? Just raise your hand. Who had seen him? Can anyone share with us?
I've heard of people who have seen him, but yeah.
Really?
Yes,
Can you share with us any story?
well, there was a friend of mine in Scotland, and I think he was a convert, and he went to Mecca to do the pilgrimage, and Jesus appeared to him and said to him, "You belong to me," and he came back, and then he was converted. Yeah, yes. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Did anyone seen him? No one else? Not even today? Oh,
I didn't see Jesus myself, but the way me and my dad came to Christ was he had a vision of Christ. I prayed for him to have a vision of Christ, and we was not believers, and he had a vision of Christ one day in his room. So
so lovely. Thank you for sharing that. So, actually, I was expecting someone to tell me that I had seen him today, right? Thursday, few minutes ago, right? But what about in everyday life? I had like like both of you guys shared a lovely story. Does anyone want to share any other story? Yeah.
I see him here. I see him all over the place.
So lovely. I love this contemplation. Has he told us how we can see him? Any ideas?
He said, "Whatever you."
uh, in the poor, or that verse where it was like when yeah. Oh, can you guys hear me? Sorry. Yeah, in the poor, when he's like, Lord, when were you naked and we didn't like take you in? Or it's that verse, and it's like
Yes.
to whoever you do to the least of them, you do to me. So in all these people that need help, Christ is a reflection of himself in them.
I love that. Thank you for sharing this verse. Actually, I was planning to present it. So it's Matthew 25, 34. If anyone want to read it.
then the king will say to those on his right hand, "Come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me." Then the righteous will answer him, saying, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? When did we see you a stranger and take you in, or naked and clothe you? Or when did you see you sick or in prison and come to you?" And the king will answer and say to them, "Assuredly I say to you, inasmuch as you did it to one of the least of these, my brethren, you did it to me."
Thank you for leading that. So just for a sort of context, if you can go back for one chapter, so Matthew 24, verse 3. If anyone can read it for us. I didn't prepare it actually.
24 verse 3.
Yes.
Now, as he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, "Tell us, when will these things be? And what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?"
Thank you. So just for context, so the disciple was sitting with him on the mountain of oil, of olive, and they asked him how it would be like, how the last days will be look like. So he told him about the tribulations on the last days, and then he gives them some hints or tips and tricks. So he give them the parable of the 5 talents, and then he spoke with them about if my memory could help me, it's another parable of the virgins and the fig tree. And then after that, he concluded that after all of that, after the tribulation, and after all these hints, you should be looking after um, those and so on. Then I will, um I will like sort of, excuse me for my English is not that good. I will sort of judge you according to this. So in the judgment day, I will split you twice. So in the right hand, those who will do that, who will see the hungry and give him food, who will see the thirsty and give him drink, who sees a stranger and took him in, who sees the naked and clothed him, and who visited and who visited whoever in prison. This is just the like the sort of things that I want to set up before next slide, which is city mission. So in city mission, we are distributing food for homeless people. It's every Sunday. We just standing in a sort of location, and the homeless coming to us, and we are serving him. And yeah, this is the details about the mission. If you wanna join us. And last thing, I wanna share a story that happened with us on the city mission. So one day, while we are serving, a woman came to us and asked us if we have a shoe for her. We didn't have that time, so we asked her that we will bring this shoe next week, and we bring it with this size next week. She didn't came, and the week after she didn't came. Third week she didn't came. And then we found another woman after we finishing the service. She started talking with us in regular stuff like, God bless you, how is your service, and so on. And that's after that, someone noticed that she didn't wear any shoe. So he asked her, how, like, where's your shoe? She told him that couple of days ago she lost it, someone stole it from her, and we had this shoe in this day and we give it to her. It's exactly the same size as her. So if you want to see Jesus, come and serve him in whatever way you like. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bushboy. I love what you're saying about this is a way to meet Jesus. It's really lovely. Any questions for Bishoy or about the city mission service? Just so people are aware, they do city mission on Tuesday evenings as well. So if Sunday 5 o'clock-ish doesn't work for you, you can also get in touch with the Tuesday group, and I think that's at 8:30 p.m. But yeah. So next we have the St. Kirill team who's going to be telling us about the wonderful work they do in supporting students in need. Got a few speakers, I think.
Hi everyone. So we went to the St. Cyril's Trust trip in July, from the 17th of July till the 25th of July this year, and we just want to share our experience. So we went from London. We traveled as a group from London to Cairo on the 17th, and we landed there, and then we took the next day, went to Minya, and we had couple of days to a week service there. So I'm just gonna share with you the itinerary, people who were there, and like our experiences. So first of all, meet the people who were there. Um, unfortunately, not all of us were able to make it today, but these are the people that went. So we have Rita Ghali, we have Miriam, me, myself, and Alicia, Mina, and Uncle Ashraf, Karen Joachim, Theodora Yusuf, um, Mavi and Alex, but also we had a girl from Soheg. We met her there actually, and she really contributed to that trip, and in a way that we couldn't like, 'cause she was very different than us, and we were able to like somehow relate to her, even though she's from a very, very cultural like background than us, and it really made the trip so much better. So yeah, few words about our itineraries. So we arrived in Cairo on the 17th. Then we took on the 18th, we took a little car van to Minya together. We arrived in Abu Ras, and then from Abu Ras for 4 days straight, we went on. In the mornings we would do like primary school service for the with the kids, and then in the evening we would do like house visitations, or just visitations of like monasteries or visitation of cities. Like what we for the house visitations would do like visitations for the students, university students specifically. And we would do also for the widows. So the first day we casually went to our primary school. We got to know them in Abu Ras. It was actually like 10 minutes away from where we were staying, so we just walked there, spent the like midday with them, and then so the structure of the day would go like rest for the evening, and then in the like till 12, and then have lunch break, and have break, and then have Bible studies, and then have our visitations in the evening. So the first day was in the evening we'd go into Bayadea to have evening visitations for university students, and then the day after we still did the primary school service, but in the evening we went to monastery of the Gabalatir, Virgin Gabalatir, and then we went to Samalut, and then we went to the Martyrs Church, 21 Martyrs Church, on our way back from Minya. And our way there, we went to visit El Tahuna, which I'm going to speak about briefly. So El Tahuna, the St. Pope Carlos windmill, in Arabic it's called Tahuna, and then we thought it's a good thing to start with it because Pope Carlos is an intercessor of the organization. So we went there, took the blessing, prayed quickly about our trip, and just put a few prayers, and like as a group and personal prayers, visited the place because this was like the first time I personally go to, and I think most of us as well didn't go there before. So yeah, that was Tahuna, and then we have Abu Ras itself.
So just a bit of background about the children we were serving. So they came from underprivileged families. They were part of a school known as Madaris Mazia, Madaris Mazia, which essentially is schools that are where their parents couldn't afford to send them to government-funded free schools. So if they were to go to these schools, they would most likely would not be able to finish their education, or they'd have to miss years out. So the age range of the students we were teaching were 7 to 14 years, and as you can see, this is quite a big age range, and that's because they missed years from school. Sorry. And yes, so the organization that we worked with was Gamaita Said. So these charities help to fund these schools. And they rely on low-paid teachers and volunteers to give these children education. So moving on to next slide. So our aim was to teach these children English. We only had 4 days to do that. We tried to do as much as we could. So we started off by helping them understand, like greet each other. So we were helping them how to learn how to greet each other, how to ask questions using the 5 W's. We also practiced with them phonetics as well. And we split them based on competency as well with the help of their teachers. We also incorporated some creative activities as well. So on the first day, there's some videos. Yeah. Sounds, it's okay. We also did creative activities with them. So on the first day, we all got caps where we personalized them and got to know each other, built a relationship with them. They were very smart, so it was more about building their confidence and getting to know them. We also had colouring that they would do, and we would encourage them to speak to one another and ask, for example, can I have the colour red, and incorporate English into their activities. We also had a bracelet making on the very last day, I believe, and they loved that. They were very, very creative, and most of the girls were very enthusiastic about most of the activities. A lot of them knew how to crochet and knit their own dresses, which I thought was really impressive. And yeah, moving on to sports.
The third component of our service to the primary school children was enjoying some sports with them. So obviously we had organized the day before what sports we wanted to do. So we did stuff like bulldog, mandil, and they caught on to the games really fast. So I found it like really fun to see how they were so enthusiastic, and I felt like I had a personal touch on them being able to enjoy the days that we spent with them. And it touched me as well that we were able to they were able to catch on, and they were so smart, and I felt like it helped me like be more grateful to the position that I'm in. Like I could be in their position and be a lot more like, I guess, like a lot less like, I don't know how to say it. Yeah, yeah. So I felt like it was really nice to be able to, have that experience.
We also on the last day we did like a water fight for all the kids, and then that's when like all of them we filled like balloons with water for everyone. We stayed up the night before to fill them, and then if you see some of the videos, it should be sound, but it's not here for some reason. Yes, oh, sorry. So yeah, so we gathered them all together, and they just had so much fun just throwing balloons at each other, and it was just very fun. And I think that was the last day, which made them like very attached to us to a point. Like we were just leaving, and we had so much fun that last day, so it was a bit hard, but yeah.
Can I just add, it was absolutely exhausting to fill up these water balloons because they kept popping up on us, and it was just never again. Anyways, for the visitations, we were paired up in different groups based on our ability to speak Arabic and English. So, for example, in one group, it was me, Mina, and Miriam, and you can see us in the corner there. That was our first ever visitation. And the girl that we went to her house, and she was the sweetest person ever. And that's how it was. So everyone was in a different group. We had people pick us up from the churches, the monasteries, wherever we were. And then they took us to the students that we sponsor and also the widows that we sponsor as well. So
Um, just to add on that video, that was one girl in our visitations. That was the visitation me, Theodora, and Karen we were in, and she was able to like recite a whole like Psalms on her own, and like she's been learning it on her own, which is quite very impressive at her age. So yeah, that was something that's very like stood up to me during the visitations, and we have a few more visitations. So we have these other groups. That was mainly the first day in the Baideya. And we also did like visitations for the widows. So the picture in the corner is one of the widows. Um,
So I think this was our third day in Menya or fourth day? Third day? Fourth, third day. We went to a place called Jabal Tir, which is a monastery on a mountain. And the name of it literally translates to Mountain of the Birds. And the story behind it is it's one of the stops that the Holy Family went to, and they stayed in a cave for 3 days. And it was very, very spiritual, very beautiful, very, very scenic. As you can see, the sunset from there was beautiful. Originally, it was not a church. It was, I think, Queen Helena. There's some history behind it that I don't quite remember, forgive me. But it was then turned into a church, and there's a lot of icons, and you can see there. Wait, can you go back? There's a field in the bottom corner. That field was all covered in water. It was the entirety of it was the River Nile, and it rose up to the mountain. So on the mountainside, I don't think we got a picture of this. There was stairs where the monks would usually go down and take their boats and just float around if they had a destination. But the water, obviously, you can see now the River Nile, it went down a little bit, quite a lot actually. That's from the top. That's when the sun started setting, and it was beautiful. And there's the church at the top. And actually, if you guys know Coptic orphans, a group of them, they stay at the monastery because there's accommodation at the top.
I went there, and like you, I was really touched by the place. But you mentioned about Queen Helena. This is the mother of Emperor Constantine. So this is a 4th century, and she came all the way to the Mountain of Birds because it was a well-known fact as far back as the 4th century that the Holy Family were there. She built a church. What I found it fascinating, that this is not a 20th century story. This goes back 1600 years when Queen Helena came, visited the place, and built a church where the Holy Family came.
Can you just go back 2 slides? Yeah, do we have it? Well, anyways, so one of the main things about this monastery is that there's a cave where the Holy Family stayed, and the story behind it is that a rock fell, and baby Jesus at the time, he stopped the rock, and there's a handprint of his hand on the rock there in the cave, and the cave is literally underground. You have to go in. There's a little church there as well. It's amazing, you guys. I really recommend you visit this place.
And then we move on to Samalut, which was, I think, third or fourth, I lost count, evening of that trip. So we went to the Samalut village, and then it's really close to Mania, so it was like a good hour drive or something. We went there to visit the bishop of Samalut. We had a talk with him and a meeting, and he's telling us about the history of Samalut and about the place. We're telling him about what we did as well and what we're planning to do. We also visited St. Mark's Cathedral there, and some of us actually went to Tasbeha for a few minutes. It was in Arabic. It was a really different experience. We also went to a church that's called Church of the Cross. So the story behind that church is that it was built around a certain tree that you see here, that tree on the left. So this tree, it was in the beginning. So they wanted to cut it, but they didn't. So they built a church around it, and then some sort of miracle happened when they wanted to cut it, because they wanted to do some renovations, or a hazard for the area. So they wanted to cut it, and when they actually in January, I think 2023, I'm not sure of the date, but recently when they cut it, they were able to see a pattern of the cross in the actual the tree itself. You can see in the picture on the right side of it. So even all the scientists, when they analyzed it, it was very rare. They weren't able to explain it physiologically, why is there a cross inside of the tree, which is a miracle. And yeah, we saw it, and we got little souvenirs from it, which is quite a blessing. And yeah. We on the way back from Minya, we visited 21 Martyrs Church. So I don't know how to begin to talk about this church. It's such an experience. It was an emotional day. It was supposed to be a quick stop, and we stopped there we met one of the daughters of the martyrs, which is the picture on the right, which is a huge blessing, and we give credits to Ma because she knew it for that. And yeah, we entered there, saw the coffins, and saw it from the inside, and it was personally one of my first times to see it, and I've always heard about it, and it was quite an interesting experience, because even the night before we were watching more documentaries about it, and it's just something that we don't talk about enough. And we watched a documentary as well there about it, and it was just very, very emotional. And yeah, yes.
Does anyone know like the significance of this man at the front here? And they could explain it quickly. Okay, sorry.
The guy in the middle that you looked at, so he wasn't Christian, but because he was with them, the people that were crucifying the other martyrs were saying, you know, you can go because he wasn't Christian, but he said no, I want to die with these guys because these guys, you know, clearly have strong faith.
That's pretty much it. So he didn't have any sort of idea of the religion, yet he stuck, and his friendship with his friends sort of revealed to him the Holy Spirit, and he decided that he should become a martyr with his other friends, which really touched me personally.
So that was like our time in Minya. We went back to Cairo after visiting the church, and the next day we kind of had like a chill day after, and then the next day we went to visit like Coptic Cairo, Masr al-Azima, and we visited quite a few churches there. So we went to um, St. George's, I think, Marigirgis, and Abu Sirga, and we also went to Kinisa al-Mu'allaqa, which is the hanging church. Abu Sirga, in the church of Abu Sirga, there's like, I'm not sure if you guys went before, but it was also my first time to go. There's like a sort of a tunnel cave underneath the altar where you go on like the left or the right, and you go like downstairs and you visit. This is where the Holy Family were staying when they were in Egypt. And you can see there's like a well there as well, when it was believed that they drank water from there. And it was quite like an experience for me to like go there for the first time. Uh, and we also listened to like tour guides and like people. We kind of joined in the random tour guides of like tourists or like people that were there. You can see us like sitting in the church and like being taught about it. Or it was like, especially in the hanging church, we were even guided by Dr. Ashraf's cousin. He's a tour guide, so he was like taking us around in Coptic Cairo and explaining us the history about some of the churches and like showing us around, giving us like historical facts and explaining how the church was built and stuff. And the same day we moved from Capital Cairo, and it's not in the slides, but we also went to Deir Abu Safin, I think. We did go there and we visited quickly. Went to the library there, and then we stopped at Marimur'us in Heliopolis, St. Mark's in Heliopolis. So we had a brief meeting with Buna Dawood Lamai, where we were like talking about the service with him, because that was like by then it was kind of the end of our trip. So we were talking, giving him like an overview of what we did, and like asking him questions about what we saw, and like it was more of a personal. All of us like asked very, very personal questions, and it felt like he's really answering us very directly, and like as if God is speaking to us towards him, speaking us through him, because he really gave us the answers that we feel like each one of us needed to hear. So we were just talking with him, asking him questions about how do you like handle humility when you're serving, for example. How do you not confuse humility with like pride when you're like, oh, I'm serving, I'm doing something good, so how am I supposed to be humble? And like few other questions. I don't quite remember all of them, but they were very like we even recorded the meeting, and it was very, very insightful to all of us. So yeah.
So I think this is the second to last day. We did all of the touristy things you can imagine in Cairo. We went to the pyramids, we went to the Grand Egyptian Museum, we went to the Khan al-Khalil. We went to Khan al-Khalil. Yeah. I think we were the only group of Egyptians at the pyramids because no one's crazy enough to go there mid-July. It's safe to say that we were all dying. But now they have a new system. We can take the buses around, so it's not like the olden days. Quite lucky. And yeah, that was it for the day. We did some touristy stuff after our service trip. Yeah, then we ate some hamam. If you guys know, yeah, and koira, obviously.
So now we're coming through towards the end of our presentation. We just want to share like few experiences of of us, what we experienced. Like not all of us were able to make it today, but we've been told like even in the trip itself, we felt like the group was small and it was the perfect kind of mix between us and like Marina, which is the girl from Soheg, and even in the first evening, we were like all talking together, getting to know each other, and it wasn't just like the casual small talk. Oh, hi, what do you do? It was like diving into deep stuff, and like in half an hour, you find us all in tears. It was very, you can tell it was very, very blessed, and Amo really picked us really well, and like it was a perfect small group, and we bonded through service, and we were able to like experience these things together for the first time for most of us, which is like for me personally, it was my first ever mission trip, and it was I was gonna go to a different mission trip, but then I like decided literally a week before it that I'm gonna go and book my flight a week before it, and decided to go, and I felt like God was calling me throughout this trip because yeah, these are small like pictures, moments of us, and for me personally, I don't the picture's not here, but it was a specific girl that I just like quickly bonded with. She has the same name as me, and like she was just would remind me of, like of little me a lot, and I loved her so much. And she would like always like when I entered the class or entered like the playground, she'd just like run after and like call me and hold, and like she wouldn't let go of me, and like she would save me a seat next to her in all the classrooms. She's so sweet, and like she would ask me for water, she'd ask me for everything, and I just loved her so much. um and it was this girl and maybe another girl as well that like it was a shock a bit in the beginning. It was the first day of like meeting them, and one of the girls, she told me, I'm not gonna be here today, tomorrow, sorry, because my sister's getting married. And I'm like, how old is your sister? And she goes, she's, I don't know, she might be 19. She's my age, and I just got shocked a bit, like how privileged we are, and we just don't get like give credit enough to it. So it was very like emotional, but yeah. And I don't know if you guys.
One of my favorite moments is in this picture here. I'm with Ashraf. It was actually my 18th birthday on the trip. So, and I don't really like care about my birthdays too much, but this is probably my favorite birthday of like at all. And all the kids sang me happy birthday. And Uncle Ashraf, he did like a crazy sneaky mission behind my back, went to go buy a cake for me, and it was just like one of my favorite moments because it showed me like the service trip is not about like serving them and making them like helping out the other people, but it's also about yourself and making sure that you like are able to reflect on all the moments that's happened and be able to build your own relationship with God as well.
What I got out of this trip is seeing how amazing the Egyptian hospitality is and how privileged we are in comparison to the people we did visitations with. We visited students, we taught the students, and we also visited widows. Regardless of the circumstances they were in, they always made sure they would bring us drinks. They offered us food. They offered us everything they had in their house, even if they had nothing. And for them to go out of their way, some of them went out of their way to buy stuff from the shops. And for them, that's really expensive. That might be their week's allowance or the money they have for the week. So it was just an amazing. It's just too much.
So this just reminded me, I think Bushra was mentioning how today we're like, have you seen Jesus? And I've just deeped it now actually, that with the children we were serving, I definitely did see Jesus. I felt they were so happy to see us every single day. The girls would be like, Miss, we're gonna wait for me from 5 in the morning. They were so enthusiastic, so happy, despite they were so underprivileged and the circumstance that they were in. But I saw Jesus in them and how happy they were. And it was like a wake-up call to us. Like, we tend to be really disappointed. Like, if something goes wrong in our life, we tend to get disappointed and then we turn up to work and maybe we're quite grumpy. But then we should learn from these kids. As you can see in all these pictures, they're so happy and they're so, like, they had such a simple life, but they're so happy and so joyful. And I think we should take that as a lesson to learn that, like, we're very privileged and we should learn from them because that's how we should be. Yep, that's it.
Just to add on one last thing, something that I really liked as well was the fact that we started and we ended the day by group prayers. No matter what, we have to like start 8 a.m. group prayers and do Bible studies in the middle. And we did like Bible studies. We in the beginning we started doing them in like a scheduled time after coming back from the primary school service, but we realized sometimes it's just not doable or sometimes it's hard, so we just did them quickly in the car because we have a lot of like roads went to like half an hour, 40 minutes drive. So we did them quickly, and despite that, it was very like deep, or I don't know how to say it, but it was hit the right spot because it's the perfect discussion with the right group in the right place, and it's kind of helped us when in the service itself, kind of helped us like go through the service in a different way each day. So yeah, and yeah, that's just a picture of us with the picture with the kids on the last day, and quick video. I hope it works. And then just this is a quick QR code. If you want to scan it, it'll take you to our Instagram page if you want to learn more about the organization. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Marina, Miriam, Rita, and Mina. That was really lovely. It sounds like not only did you serve others, but it felt like you actually got a lot from the trip, like friendships, blessings, and your own like relationship with God. So that's really lovely. Does anyone have any questions about the St. Kirill service? Um, do you guys know, like, if someone wanted to do like a mission trip with St. Kirill, like, how would they find out? Would they just go on the Instagram page and then?
Should be one happening, but I don't know if it's scheduled yet, but I think he told me that there should be one happening. So just follow our Instagram and yeah, just talk to any one of us if you want any more details as well.
And do you need to speak Arabic to go on one of these mission trips?
Not really, like most of us didn't. I'm not sure.
I don't want this to be so. In terms of speaking Arabic, I was very hesitant because my Arabic it's good, but compared to people there, it's not good. And also for Said, it's a different dialect. Most of us, well, Arabic was not that great, but we still enjoyed it. I don't want it to put anyone off. Like you still should go. Like I encourage you to go.
You, that's good to know. And one more question, like if someone wanted to serve for St. Kirill, but like for whatever reason couldn't go on a mission trip, for whatever reason, is there anything they can do to get involved?
So yeah, contact us anytime. Contact Ammo Ashraf as well. He'd help with the service, and also the QR code. If you scan it, it will take you to like we do marathons. I think there has been a recent marathon that they ran, and yeah, the mission trip should be in the same time. And also, if you go on the Instagram page and you like click in the bio, you'll have like a link that you can go on and you can donate. I forgot to add the link, but it should be in the bio. So just click there and donate money if you want to.
Thanks so much. Okay, so next we have DJ, who's going to be telling us a little bit about his mission trip to Kenya earlier this year, and he's also going to be telling us about a new service he's recently got involved with.
Thank you, Sarah. Actually, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Dagmawi. Some people call me DJ. I go by both names. So Just FYI. Sarah said something interesting. It's his mission trip, which isn't quite right. It was 50 of us that went under the leadership of Mina, who isn't here, and Abuna David. And I see a few people here today, so I'm gonna be mean and call them out on stage so they're with me because I really like the group dynamic that they had. I see Sophia over there, Mark Habib, and come on up. Oh, Bashar and Irini. Okay. I'm gonna spot everyone that was on this trip. I see Miriam trying to hide all the way in the back. Is that it? No, Dylan was here somewhere. He's upstairs. Okay. Thank you. So actually very kind of similar experience to what the oh Vero, why are you hiding? Brenda, come on guys, like what are we like, there's 50 of us. I can't remember everyone. They're trying to hide especially. Is that everyone? Okay. But yeah, so as I was saying, it's very similar experience to the St. Cyril Trust trip, except we went to Kenya and it was a much larger group. So we were split up in a variety of different ways. We did a bunch of things for Abunabulis's mission there. We went to home visits. We went to visiting schools. We visited some orphans, some prison visits as well. So it was a variety for a range of 10 days. We did a bunch of different things. We were completely exhausted by the end of it. I do apologize. I don't have like a nice presentation as like everyone, but I do have a few pictures that I wanted to kind of highlight what we did, and I'll lean on the people that I've brought up here to help me if I've forgotten anything. So this picture is from a school. So from all the 50 of us were broken up and we went to visit a bunch of different schools. And we were received exactly like this, with just smiles and joy and happiness in their hearts. We don't know why. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's just they were so happy to see us. They were crying. They would play with us. Like we gave them candy, sweets, like stuff we had taken from there, and that made their day. Like you give them like this little thing of chocolate, and they would just run to their friend and just share half of it and be smiling and everything. We also had a few people from the U.S. join us. So that's Cyril. Cyril from Texas, cool guy. Yeah, I don't know if I missed. There was another girl from Canada, yeah. And
Also a big group from America as well. There was loads of us.
yeah, so we in Abuna Bulis's mission there was like we stayed in a big hospital with a bunch of different groups. So it wasn't just our group. There was a group from New Jersey at first, and then there was a different group from Chicago that came, and we were serving with them. So it's a really great opportunity to meet some people from all around the U.S., to even bond with the people from the church as well. At least for me, when I went, it was kind of an opportunity to really give back to the community because we have things like WTL and spec and all these things that you can consume here. You can do a lot of these services where you're kind of the person taking in, but this is a real opportunity for you to give back, like to go and talk to these people and to read the Bible with them, and they would have really tough questions, and you kind of have to read the Bible and kind of connect with them. It was really, really once in a lifetime type of trip. I don't know if you guys want to add anything.
Yeah, I think what stood out the most in this trip was we were a group of 50, but most of us did not really connect on a personal level, so you don't really know what everyone can or cannot do. And we were shocked that, or I was shocked, I had a bit of mixed feelings that every single one had a skill, some sort of something that can do, and no one else could. And the other feeling is that what the hell I'm doing here? That was there as well. But we had a plethora of personalities. We had Anne, who was like, "Oh, I know it all because she's been there multiple times." Me and DJ were like, we're in our own, lost in our own space and time, really. We've got Irini, who's like forced us into this. we didn't know what's the point of her, to be honest. But yeah, we got Bishoy is like doing all sorts of instruments. You just throw something at him and he would play, do some great music. It was amazing. Yeah, it was actually, and I remember they will tell you that there is a plan, but actually there's not. Um, they would they would throw us in a bus with a plan, and then say no, change his mind in the bus to like totally different things. So everything that we prepared for is just gone. So it'd be like, okay, what are we gonna do? And then you find out people coming up with songs and people doing this and doing that and plays, and it was amazing. Um, but I think most of us, if there's something that we would agree on, is most of us thought that we're going there to serve, and we ended up being served more. We were on the receiving end, not the giving end at all. I have made, I'm not good with big groups, but I would like find a teenager and just walk with him, like see how he thinks and what does he want to do. And I thought we're in the middle of nowhere when like fields and there's nothing really, zero technology. And I found this girl who's like, I want to be an ophthalmologist. I was like, at your age, I didn't know what an ophthalmologist means. And I was like, these people here having these very big ambitions, and we're here lost thinking about whatever. So yeah, it was a bit, um, it was a bit of an eye opener. We didn't really serve. We were served, every single one of us. So it was one of the best things that I've ever done in my life. And yeah, does anyone want to add anything?
I'm just gonna touch on what Mark said. We really were served. I don't think, like, I was going thinking I'm gonna help all these people. It turned out that they helped me. They strengthened my faith. They brought me to Christ. I saw Jesus there every single day during our service. Yes, it was tiring, but I feel like there's no experience that can ever compare to this. And I think we can all confidently say we came back completely different. And it's an everlasting change. It's changed every single one of us. So I definitely push you guys to go if you can.
One thing that like really stood out to me, and whenever anyone asks me about Kenya, I always mention this story. So we went to a maximum security prison one day, and the day before they kept telling us, "Oh, the girls, just make sure you stand with the guys. Don't wander away or anything." So we're all in the line going into the prison, and we're being patted down, making sure we don't have anything on us. And Ambabulis was ahead of us, so he's gone into prison before us, and we're outside still getting like security checked. And you could just hear like gladiator size kind of cheering. Like there is pure joy on the inside. And they were just that happy to see him, and they're really grateful for the church there. So when we went inside, it's nothing like what we imagined. And there's a picture of a DJ dancing with the prisoners as well. I don't know if it's here. It's like an iconic picture.
I didn't send that one to Ihab.
That picture, I love that picture. It's like we started dancing with them and singing, and like they all have amazing stories. And I think that day I finally understood, or like it was very tangible to me, that there is a very huge difference between happiness and joy. And these people have joy. They have Christ with them. And he is with all of us, but they see him, and they truly have, like, they've made peace with their life with him because he's all what they need, and they know that. So really, really encourage, like, for you guys, if you get the chance to do it, like if we get the chance to do it again, please go. It's truly amazing.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, so when we went to the home visits, this is kind of the group that you'd go, so you get chunked up into like 5 or 6 people. And I remember there was this one day where this is a little bit of a story. By the way, if you want stories on this, Abuna David has like 40 that he just has backlog. He's just going to use them in sermons for the future. We went to home visits. It was just me, Miriam Seed, and Joatea. So just the 3 of us. And we went to this lady's house, and her husband had passed away, and she has 2 kids. And I tell you, like, her house is like the size of like 4 of these chairs. It's like literally, it's that big. And we walked in, and she had like this big smile on her face, and she like was carrying her kids. They were just dancing. They immediately started singing at us. We went to like sing for them these like worship songs that we had rehearsed, and she starts singing for us. And we're like, okay, so we carry on, and we think that okay, this isn't. She's kind of maybe pretending. This can't be real. Like no way. But no, like once we're done, we read the Bible with her. When we left, she like picks up her kids and she follows us. So she goes with us to the next house to like sing with us. Um, it's a very different kind of faith they have there. It's nothing like I've personally seen. And if you ever, I'm sure they'll have more opportunities in the future. If they ever have opportunities like this, please just go for it. And to Mark's point, I didn't feel ready for this. Like I don't know if anybody did, but we were very much just kind of thrown in the deep end. Every day we didn't know what we were doing. Abuna Bulus would just wake up and say, "Okay, we're going to the prison today. Everyone just pack your stuff." And you had to pack for the prison, or he might just say home visits, and you just had to be ready. Um, so it's a really really life-changing experience.
I think I'm gonna add just one thing is that during service trip, like you can clearly see God's hand. So not, sorry. So not just that, as we were saying, like sometimes all of the time we did not have a plan, but even like in our everyday life, I remember for the whole 10 days we were sleeping like 4 or 5 hours per night. And if this is me, like in my regular life, I would be dead by the second or the third day. And we had like minimum access to caffeine, but somehow we managed to go to like the 10 days. Everyone is just full of energy. I really did not feel tired at all. So it's just like literally God is blessing our effort and our energy through the whole 10 days. Yeah.
Yeah, and we also had liturgy on a mountain. It was really nice, like in the open air mountain as the sun was rising, which is also something that was great. By the way, there's more pictures. If you follow the St. Mark's Instagram channel, there's like posted a bunch of them. I only saw four, so he's just kind of cycling through them now. But yeah, that's the St. Mark's Kenya trip that happened this last May. I don't know if anybody wants to add anything.
I just want to say that
Yeah.
our service didn't end there. There's a lot of us that are still in contact with a lot of people back there. I can talk about myself. I'm in contact with a little girl. When I visited her during my school visit, she asked for my number, and I'm still, because I'm a teacher, I'm helping her with English and maths and different things. And I'm even in contact with some of the teachers there. So our service definitely did not end there. We can still help when we're here.
Lovely, awesome. And just carrying on from that, the second service Sarah mentioned, this is kind of just the very new one for me. I talked to Buna David because I have been personally wrestling with like how do you carry this moving forward, and I signed up to work at a hospice. So hospice, very similar to what Uncle Nabil was saying, visiting the sick. It's kind of the last stage between a person leaving this life. So you kind of go there to spend some time with them, to talk to their family, just help them with their service. Joseph Hanno is also with us in Kenya. He's hiding in the back. Um, but yeah, so you really are urging to carry this forward, and this is a bit of an early service, so I'm kind of the guinea pig to see how this works. And if this goes well, Abuna David has promised that he'll come and bring some people to the hospice. So pray for it. Hopefully it grows, and then we can have another way of helping the sick here in London as well. Cool. The hospice. So I don't know if anybody wants to talk about what made them do Kenya. I'll give them a second to think about it, but I'll answer that in the meantime. So for me, Kenya, like I said, was I had very consumptive type of experience with the church, and I wanted to give back. And once you're in that kind of environment, especially for 10 days, and you come back to London, it's very jarring. Like you kind of have this whiplash that you're like, um, I can't just go back to normal. It just can't be the same. So I was kind of thinking of ways of how to be connected to God in that way. And I wanted to serve a little bit outside of the church. So going back to Abuna's sermon today, when he talked about how you want to be that fragrance of Christ to someone, I didn't know why that really just resonated with me back then. So I was looking for a way to kind of serve outside of the church, and I knew someone that served in a hospice, and she talked about how amazing it was. So I signed up for the service in the hospice, and it just started. It's like when I contacted them is when they just needed someone. So it was kind of like lined up really well. It takes a while to kind of go through the process because you have to get trained on how to handle food around people that are that vulnerable. Um, so it was like a month worth of training that just ended. So I'm gonna start working with them now, and hopefully it goes well. So that's kind of a short, long answer to your question. By giving everyone enough time to think about Kenya. Zero.
Really so excited.
Sure.
So excited. She must say something.
She ran away.
I personally just wanted to give back, and I went there. I was given way more than what I gave. I was given so much than I could ever imagine. So I guess I went for the wrong reasons because it turns out that I was the one that was helped. My faith was deepened. She had a really good answer.
Me?
Yes.
I don't really have an answer, but okay. Well, like, what brought me to Kenya? I've tried everything in my power not to go to Kenya, guys. I waited in all the spaces until they finished. I waited on the waiting list. So the day we traveled to Kenya was my graduating presentation to graduate. And then when we come back, I had my examiner to graduate. So for me, and then Mina does not make you feel safe. He goes like, guys, you're gonna get ill, you're gonna get malaria, get prepared. So I was like, if something happens to me, that's it, I'm not graduating this year, like, I'm done. Yeah, so I waited on the waiting list. My family was definitely pushing me to go on the service. I didn't serve that much. I don't know my Bible that well, so I was like, why should I go? Like, I'm not ready. I think everyone saw my journey through Kenya. So yeah, Mina called me the day before he books after the waiting list. He's like, I'm booking tomorrow, in or out. At that time, I was in Spain and it was midnight. He texted me at midnight. I was like, 8:20 tomorrow, I'm replying. I talked to my professors. They altered my presentation day to travel. So I actually did my final graduating presentation the day before my flight, and then I went straight to the airport. Um, and yeah, I mean, I don't regret it. I met amazing people. You definitely, like I said, you definitely get served more than serving. Um, and you honestly don't feel like you're not ready. I wasn't ready. I still don't know my Bible that well. But the people with you, that they push you. Mina does not leave you alone at all. And like DJ said, the people with the tiniest homes had the biggest smile, the biggest faith. So you just go and have a conversation with them. You pray for them. One of my highlights was definitely the orphanage day. I'm not a kids person whatsoever, but I enjoyed playing with those kids all day. I think all of us did. And again, the church there, our mass might be completely different to their mass, but over there they sing and they dance, and it was just amazing, so energetic. This is the first time I've never actually sat in a mass. We were dancing the whole, we were dancing and singing the whole mass. We introduced ourselves. We got to know the people. The people, they didn't distance themselves, so they actually came with us. Um, and then you break into groups. I took a very big challenge. I actually pushed myself and I worked with the youth. So getting them to open up was really interesting. So we actually turned it into like a Bible game rather than just, okay, who are you? How are you? Kind of thing. So that was very interesting. I think one of my favorites was the church days. And like he said, Amber Ballers did push us and we actually collided with the Americans, which was very interesting experience. But like I said, everyone has their own strengths, so we all just came together and served. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Yes, it sounds like God's hand was really in this trip, and I really like what you guys said about like life isn't just the same when you come back. It's not just serve for 10 days and then that's it. So that's really lovely. Speaking of which, we have our final speakers. We've got Mariam and Anne, who are going to tell us about a service that they do here. Mariam. Um, but yeah, it's to do with sort of cleaning up, setting up, making food. So it's all about this service here. But yeah.
Okay. I know I'm going to talk about like cleaning up and like food and all, but I want to start by talking about St. Mark. So,
Could anyone open up like Mark 14 and read from 12 to 15? Just let me know if anyone is ready. Get the phone. Anyone? Mark 14, 12 to 15. Now on the first day of unleavened bread, when they killed the Passover lamb, his disciples said to him, "Where do you want us to go and prepare, that you may eat the Passover?" And he sent out 2 of his disciples and said to them, "Go into the city, and a man will meet you carrying a pitcher of water. Follow him. Wherever he goes in, say to the master of the house, 'The teacher says, where is the guest room in which I may eat the Passover with my disciples?' Then he will show you a large upper room, furnished and prepared. There make ready for us." Yeah, thank you. I know I might be deeping it to like relate this to the Bible that much, but I love the fact that it's in the Bible that Jesus himself has asked for a furnished room, and like a ready space, like suitable for a meal, suitable for fellowship. And in that room, he established the Eucharist. He established like a sacrament. So I think whenever I think about like say Mark is a huge evangelist and he preached to Egypt, to Libya, and like a lot of other countries. But before all of that, he had the little mission of just preparing that small room for Jesus and his disciples. And it made me think how the rest of the disciples would have felt coming in, finding a set table, plates, cups, food, drink, a clean place, a clean floor, because they sat on the floor back then. So there was someone who swept the floor, someone who prepared the food, someone who set the table. So I know like when we say, can someone help clean or set up or remove chairs, it sounds a bit like chores. But it is actually bigger than that. Like it is biblical. And like Christ himself like appreciated it. And then one more point, if someone could open Genesis 18, 2 to 5. Let me know when you're ready. So he lifted his arm.
So he lifted his eyes and looked, and behold, 3 men were standing by him. And when he saw them, he ran from the tent door to meet them, and bowed himself to the ground, and said, "My Lord, if I have now found favor in your sight, do not pass on by your servant. Please let a little water be brought and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under a tree. And I will bring a morsel of bread, that you may refresh your hearts. After that you may pass by, inasmuch as you have come to your servant."
Yeah, so this is like the story of Abraham when he was visited, and it's like the famous like hospitality icon and how he ran. Like Abraham was a proactive person. He did not wait for them to say, "We need a place to rest." He told them not to pass me, like, "Do not pass me by. Sit here. I'll give you food. I'll give you water. I'll give you a place to rest." So YRM is that place to us after liturgy. We come back like after like communion. We want to eat. We want to have fellowship. We want drink. So on top of like, so we do a lot of like setup. Like we set the chairs. We get cups and plates, and some very faithful servants provide us with food every week. So it would be great if this is something that you would want to help with, because this is your house. Like this is you're no like none of us here is a stranger. It is our house. And when we serve, when we bring food, we feed each other and we provide drinks to each other, and it's like we're feeding the rest of the body of Christ. So it is really big. So and we do need the help. We do need help for like volunteers to provide food Sunday. So it's not going to be every Sunday if you volunteer. It'll be like maybe every 5 to 6 Sundays. You might come up in the rota. I would ask you like 10 days in advance, just to like to let you know. Setup is mostly like bringing the chairs in to set them up in this way, get the boiler out, set the plates and the cutlery and the cups, get the drinks out, make sure there's milk. So it's just very small things. It's not even time consuming. So yeah, and it's like hugely appreciated. I always say like Saint Mark before he evangelized, he prepared that small room. So that's how I think about this service now.
But I'll give it over to Mariam.
Thanks, Anne. Okay. I just want to talk about like commitment and why we should serve. So I know Bishoy touched on it earlier, but I just want us to think about very quickly, like a lot of times we think about what is God's will for my life, right? That's like the biggest question, most common question. And I think we often think about it in a way, what can I take? Do I go this path or this path? But maybe turn it into what can you give God? So God has given each one of us talents. All right, everyone has a talent. You can't say you don't have talents, but sometimes you don't know what that talent is. So go out and experiment through service. Maybe think about what is God's will for your life in terms of giving and through service. So if you're not sure, go out and experiment. And what I would say is when you serve, do it faithfully. Okay, we are faithful to our jobs, to our families. I ask that when we serve, we do it faithfully. And just if you want to hear it from the Bible itself, I've collated a group of verses from across the Bible, and it says, always give yourselves fully to the work of the Lord, because you know that your labor in the Lord is not in vain. And whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord. And for those of you who have served and maybe are a bit tired, think about, there's another verse in Galatians that says, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. So just remember that when you are serving Christ. That's who you're serving. And it's for your joy and for your benefit. You are the one that will be filled. But do it faithfully. If you say you're going to do something, we ask that you commit and follow through. Yes, there are going to be times where things happen and you can't, but also go out of your way to find a replacement. Okay, this is your home. If you are faithful to your work, we ask you to be faithful to the service for your benefit at the end of the day. And don't think that any service is too little. Just like Anne said with St. Mark, we also know one of the biggest miracles in the Bible is the feeding of the 5,000. Christ didn't say it's okay enough to give them a nice word. He said, no, let me feed them as well. So no service is too small. We have, like it says in the epistles, we have a body and every part of the body is important to let it all function. So just because you can't see a liver or a kidney doesn't mean it's not vital to survive. So what I would ask is that you stay faithful and go out and experiment and see where God wants you to be. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was really inspiring, and I hope all of you feel inspired from the speakers from today, and there's at least like one service that you feel moved to join, because Christ has a purpose for each one of you, and each one of us is called to serve in the same way that Christ served us.
If you want to join the welcome team, sorry guys, we didn't talk about it, but if you want to join the welcome team, welcoming new people to church, please, QR code.
Yeah, so please do get your phones out and scan, and we'll try and post some stuff on the WhatsApp group as well, I think. Okay. Is there any announcements before?
Yeah. There's Arabic worship night this Thursday evening. I think it's at 7:30 this Thursday, Arabic worship night. And all of you have a save the date for the retreat. So the winter retreat, 5th to the 7th of December. Guys, when we post for the ticket